All right, so now we're going to actually get into this page thing and look at how to do some actual design and development of your website. So the first thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and just create a new page. I'm going to create it in my not linked section here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on plus. And instead of starting with a blank page, I'm going to start with a page layout, because why not? And so you'll see that this is going to really help you get a rough idea of different options for getting it going. And so you've got add blank as an option, but then you've got all sorts of custom things here, right? So you've got an appointments thing that will like build in that scheduling thing that we were talking about before. We've got an about page with some various layouts, a contact page with the form already set up. This one has a map set up. So all sorts of like preset layouts that you can use just to help get you started, right? Here's a members area, pretty cool. Here's a gallery, so if you wanted to do like just something that really is photo heavy. Team, like featuring your staff, your personnel. Reviews is going to be feedback from people about your product or your services. Here's a menu. Here's a RSVP form that you can fill out. This thing has built-in forms that can integrate with anything, with MailChimp, with Google Sheets, with Excel. You can do all of that. Here's a FAQ template. Here's a privacy policy template. Here's a terms of service template. So all sorts of stuff. We're going to go to general. And for now, I'm going to grab one of these nice big opening banners like that. And so you'll notice that it comes in as a new page over here. And right now, this is how it's looking. Right? So this is just the default template. And so you'll notice all these images are this mountain. We're going to have to change all of that. But you know, it's giving us something to start with. So the first thing we want to do is name the page, and we're going to do that over here. So we're going to call this test page 1. Oops. If you mess that up, like I just did, you can open it up like this with this little gear setting, and that's going to give us a lot of options. So we're going to call this test page 1, and I'm going to copy that and paste it as the navigation tile as well as the URL slug. So you want to make sure this URL slug is what's going to appear after your domain name. So this URL is actually going to be the link of that page. All right. Now, if you don't want to have the page on, you can literally turn it off. It just disappears if you do this. You can still edit it, you can still work on it, but it disappears from your website. The other option is you can have the page visible, but requires a password to log into it. So if you just type any password here, then people would need to type that password in to be able to access that page. And so that could be a nice trick if you wanted to do like a members only area, right? Where people would need to know a password to access a certain page. Or you could do like an admin only area where people would need to log in with an admin password to be able to see the page even and give feedback on it, right? Even if they didn't have access to the behind the scenes editor. So just simply adding a password there will basically password protect the page. Removing the password makes it publicly visible. And this one will just turn the page off and on. You also have the option to duplicate a page. So this is very useful once you've created a page and you have a nice template. You don't want to have to build everything from scratch again and get your layouts all exactly the same a second time. So no problem, you just duplicate the entire page. Super easy. Here's the option to set it as a home page if you want, and that will determine where your home page logo actually appears and what page defaults to when you go on your home button. Right, so the other things that you want to do here is over on this SEO tab, you'll notice that it still pulls this default General 6 title for SEO. So you want to make sure that it matches the content, and you want to write a little description. So this is a test page using Squarespace's built in page layouts. It is very pretty. So something like that, good enough. And so that will now change how it appears on, search results if this page in particular is showing up. Okay. Social image. So as you'll see, it's defaulting with the logo for my website. But actually, I can actually go ahead and add another unique image or search for images. And this search for image option is pretty cool. So we're just going to see all of these free images, and these are completely free images, so nothing required. Very handy feature of Squarespace that this is built in. So you can just select, add to site, and there it goes. And so now what happens is this is the social image. And so what that means is that this is the image that's going to show up if this link to this page is pasted into a social media site. So this is the image that it will automatically pull. And if it doesn't get that, it's just going to default to that logo, which doesn't fit properly and look very nice. So this is a good thing to do always. And make sure these are small resolution images if you're uploading them yourself. If you did want to upload them yourself, it's very easy. You just right click, remove image, and then add the image there. And then it's just going to open a regular browser window. You can also check for premium images. These are paid images, or imported images. And so these are all of the images that you've used in the past on your website. And so you can scroll through and see all of your images that you've ever uploaded. And one of the things that drives me crazy about Squarespace is there's no way to organize these. So you just have to like scroll back and back and back and back and back and back forever looking for the image that you need, right? It's very annoying, but it is what it is. The stuff that you've added recently will be at the top. The stuff that you added a long time ago will be further down. So anyways, that's how you set up your page. You set up your images and so on. And then you have the page header code injection. That would be just for this specific page if you want to add some header code injection. When you're done with all that, you click save, and we've got our test page, right? So let's actually make some changes to this page, right? So the first thing we're going to do is click edit here, and we're moving into the page. So up here, this is the header. So we're not going to click edit site header for now. Let's focus on the page itself. So the first thing we're looking at is this entire top section here, which is just a giant image for now. So to edit each section, you click on this little button here. And in this case, it's giving us a few options. Section height, small, medium, large, or custom. So small header height looks like that. So now we've got this little image strip across the top. Medium looks like that. Large is going to be full screen. So 1920 by 1080. That's going to be full screen. And it scales to whatever width you're looking at. So it's really just the 1080 height that retains the information. You can also put it to anything, any percentage in between, right? Those scales. So you can get quite precise. So let's go ahead and close that, and I'll just show you what I mean by saying it scales properly. So you see how this image, no matter what I do with this, because we've set it to large, it's taking up the whole screen, the whole first space there, right? And so that's what I mean by scales properly. So it'll look nice on a tablet, a phone, or going into full screen mode. So the next thing let's do is let's change that background image before we talk about this stuff down here, content with, because right now there's no content here. So let's go ahead and change this background image. So I'm going to come over here. Just like when we were using sway, we have this focal point, which allows us to kind of designate how the crop is going to work. If we really are like, oh man, the bottom of this image is the most important, then if it gets cropped off ever, so for example, if we made this a medium height, it's not going to crop that focal point section, right? So basically this is just going to adjust the layout of the crop, which areas are getting cropped, which areas are getting saved. Okay, let's go back to a large header there. And let's go to background. So we're going to delete this, and we're going to go just use a stock image for now. And you have a few options, full bleed or insert. Let's just add an image first so we see what it looks like. Let's go ahead and add this one. Why not? And you have to give it a few seconds for this block to finish spinning before it's finalized. And now we can make adjustments. So let's bring this, do we want this to be down or do we want this to be up? Ooh, I think we want it to be up. Yeah, that's nice. So if I'm going to scroll down here and show you a few other things. So first we have the full bleed. Full bleed basically just means it's going to go right to the edge. Insert is going to have it be inserted, so it's going to put a border around it. Sometimes you might want that, sometimes not. So for me, I prefer the full bleed look, and that's what I'm going to stick with. The next thing you have here is an image overlay. So this is basically going to allow you to put a colored overlay on top of the image. So I'm going to set this to 50% just so you can see what is happening here. And then the last thing is going to be image effect. So you could, for example, have it do various things. So you could have it zoom. And so now as you move your mouse, you'll see you're getting a bit of parallax effect here. That thing is zooming, right? So you can have it pan if you want it to slide to the left and right. So you can add all sorts of little subtle effects, right? Film grain has this like animated film on top of it. It's hard to see, but it's got this little noise on top of this thing. Liquid, there you go. I don't know why you'd ever want this. This is painful to look at. I haven't even looked at half of these. So yeah, oh, that's cool. Look at that. That, oh boy, that's trippy. That follows your mouse around. So wherever your mouse goes, you got this weird effect. I've never seen that before. How does lines work? Lines doesn't follow your mouse. It moves when you scroll down. So that's interesting. I'm not sure when I would ever use that. But anyways, there it is. It is what it is. And tilt is just a standard parallax. So you're just getting it scrolling up from the bottom as you scroll down. My favorite one is zoom and pan. They just tend to be the most nice, most subtle. I kind of like that. And then the reason I set the image opacity to 50 is because I want to show you what happens over here with colors. These themes that I talked about in the first video, these themes determine what your background color overlay is. So if I went to this one, I'd get this kind of greenish effect. If I went up here, I'd get this kind of, tan effect. If I went all the way to my white, I'd get white overlay. If I went to black, I'd get this black overlay. So this is how you kind of determine the overall look of each individual section. And the intensity of that overlay is adjusted here. Right, so I'm going to put it to about like 20 whatever percent, something like that. And let's get that image back again. And I just want to make sure that my background focus point is set to include the sky a little bit, because that's a nice sky. There we go. So that's much nicer. And so when you're done with this, there's one last thing you can do over here, and this is going to repeat again. Oh, and I should point out, you can also have a video banner here, which is very cool. So it'll just play and loop in the background. You don't have to worry about it pulling in YouTube, end screen credit thumbnail things. None of that. It just will loop the video with a little fade in between. So that's a very cool effect. And once again, you can also adjust the playback speed. You can add a filter to it if you want to put the brightness down a little bit. And then if it's on mobile, the video backgrounds do not play on mobile. So you just put a background image that will be used when it's on mobile. So this is your mobile fallback image. And so in this case, we're just going to leave it as image for now. And the last thing I just want to show you is edit image. And so on anywhere on the site, on anywhere on the Squarespace site, any image can be edited directly there. And so it's a pretty basic editor. You've got your crop, you've got your kind of adjustment filters here, and then you've actually got preset filters. So you can use kind of some of these other styles, these other looks, and you can adjust the intensity of them over here. So let's go with a Serengeti. No, that's too strange looking. Let's go with Denali. I like that one. No, Facet. Yeah, beautiful, very vibrant. So we've got all sorts of things that you can experiment with, and when you click save, that permanently changes that image. So, if it's on your computer, it's no problem, but just be aware that that image here is now been changed permanently. So it's not like it's keeping a library of your original images that you can then adjust. It's just putting this image here, and then that's that. Let's get that sky in there. Good. All right, so that's how you adjust the image and the background and everything. But now let's talk about this content, because right here, there's nothing here. And I want to put something here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look, and you'll see there's this faint little box here that in this case happens to be a spacer. I'm going to click plus, and I'm going to add a text box. And now I can give it a title. So what are we calling this page? Test page 1, I think. And here's where you set the heading. So in this case, I'm going to set it to heading 1. I'm going to align it to the center, and then I'm going to press enter. Oops. Let's do that from the bottom. And this looks pretty good. And this second line I'm going to set to heading 2. And you'll see that it automatically pulls heading 2's unique style. Now this spacer underneath here, if I want to get rid of this, I just select that box to delete it. And there's all sorts of other things you can add. So you can add spacers, and those spacers are adjustable. So, if you want it to be a taller spacer, you make that spacer taller, right? And that'll help you kind of angle and position the position of this thing. I'm going to go ahead and delete that spacer. You can also add just a simple line breaker if you wanted to have a line like that or so. And then, now that we have some content here, I need to show you one last thing about formatting the section itself, and that is the section width. So right here it's set to medium, which basically means everything in this section is limited to right here. The padding is pushed all the way into here. But we can go small, medium, or large. And that will actually affect the way your image and your, not your image, but your text boxes and images display within this layout. Okay? So let's go ahead and delete these 2 lines. Super easy, super fast. Let's put some pictures under here. So I'm going to go and say image. And you'll see it just goes like a full width image here. And we'll just get some random images for now just to experiment with. If you are uploading your own images, make sure that you set the file name to match the image or match the page. That's good SEO practice, which I actually was taught by one of my former students. I didn't really ever give much thought to file names of images before, but apparently it helps out with the SEO. And so we're just going to click apply for that for now. And we're just going to go ahead straight away and jam another picture in here. And so we'll just search for another image, add it to the site, and then apply that on as well. And we'll go into what you can do with images in a little bit more detail later. And then what I want to do is, these are like too big. They're taking up too much space. So I'm just going to grab that bottom image and I'm going to move it around. And you'll see you get this little black line telling you where you want it to go. And so if I go like this, it looks like the black line is going over to the right, but that's not really what I want, because what that's doing is, if you can see, that black line is going all the way up and all the way down. But I actually just want it to be just next to just this picture above. I don't want it to go all the way down there, because then like my title would also be like all the way to the, you see like that? Like it would push the title over. I just want to be next to just the picture. So I just move my mouse a little bit towards the picture, and you'll see that black line on the right hand side now says, okay, you want to be to the left of this picture. And you'll notice if I scroll down, the same thing is happening on the bottom. So it's saying, oh, I get it, you want to be left of the picture. So if I let go now I have a picture on the left and a picture on the right. So let's go ahead and add another picture over here, and you'll see that as I come over here, the add symbol, this little add a new thing, is only showing up under this picture. So this image is now going to appear under the first. And I guess we're going with a Christmas theme here, so so let's apply this, and we'll mess around with these pictures some more. So now I've got 3 pictures, but only 2 columns. So what if I want to have 3 columns? Well, I just take this picture and I move it, and you see that black line. So look here, it's taking up too much space. Now it's going the full width from that section down. But I just want it to be next to that picture, so I go like that, there. And so now I basically have 3 columns. And these columns can be adjusted just by dragging the line in between the columns until you get a nice size arrangement that you want. Now, we've got 2 portrait images and 1 landscape here. No problem. There's a few ways to deal with that. The first and easiest way is just to grab the bottom of this picture and drag it down. And I notice that this portrait picture is a bit taller than the other one, so I'm just going to drag it up. And we're just adjusting the crop, basically, right on the website without having to go in and do the editing and everything. Now, you could do that as well. You could open this image, go to the image editor, and crop it to a particular size that you want to keep, and then you can have all the other images cropped to the same size. But, again, in this situation, I might not need to do that. The other option would be, let's go like a widescreen look, so we could have these all kind of shrunk down to something more like this. Super easy to do, and you'll see that the section flows and moves all around it. Okay, so one thing to note is sometimes Squarespace gets a little bit confused with certain numbers of things. So 3 can divide perfectly evenly across this. Let's see if we keep adding pictures when we run into a problem. So let's go ahead and add another picture. We'll just keep clicking these random Christmassy pictures. Okay, apply. Wait, you have to wait for that to finish processing and resizing. So we'll click apply on that. We'll drag this one over next to this picture. And I think we're starting to see... No, this should still be okay. Yep, so those are all still the same size, as you can see. So we've got 4 evenly distributed pictures now. Let's add one more and see what happens. So 2 works fine, 3 works fine, 4 works fine. So you might find a couple numbers where it starts to give you problems. So let's see if we can't force it to give us some problems. Okay, I think we've encountered a problem here. So no matter what we do, right, like one picture is always going to be too big here because the other pictures are scaling around to fit. And so there's a couple workarounds to this. And so depending on your current position, my suggestion would be to add a spacer and put that spacer next to the picture and make it really small. And then you'll notice that now we are essentially, you can see that these things are kind of moving in like one little clip at a time, right? So, oops, let's get that spacer back over there. So that's the smallest unit of measure, right? I can't make this any smaller. So it's kind of operating in units about this big, right? So what that means is I know that if I put another spacer over here and make that spacer small, there we go. Now I've got everything centered again. So that would be a trick to kind of like centering 5 images if you couldn't get them to go to the center. Now if we had one more image, we can get rid of these 2 spacers and it'll be fine. Like it'll work fine. You just have to bear in mind that because of the way Squarespace works with these kind of sections and these kind of little spaces and vertical columns that you can fill up, you can't put things exactly where you want them to be. They're kind of locked to these various sections. But it is still very easy to adjust them and add things quickly to them. So let's go back to the image. So first of all, let's go over, so image editor you know already. The focus point you already know. Let's go to design. And the first thing I want to show you is your caption. So you can turn captions off, or you can put it on below, on overlay, or overlay on hover. And so we're going to put it on below for now, and you'll see there's this little space and it gives you a prompt for a caption. And so you can actually just directly type in there to access the caption of each picture. You can format it however you like. So I'm going to put this one to heading 4. We'll say heading 4, right? And then I can come to my next picture and I can just start typing the caption. And now that caption is locked to that picture, right? That's not like a separate text box. It's part of that picture. So it makes it really easy to move them around if I wanted to change it later. All right. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to do it this way. You could also instead decide, you know what? I don't want a caption, so I'm going to turn the caption off. What I'm going to do, so I'll apply that change. So I'm going to click under this picture, go to plus, and add a text box, and I'm just going to write something else. So, and then you can customize it and format it as usual. And so you've got this little text box thing that you can do all sorts of fun things with. And the real trick to Squarespace is just learning how these blocks work. And this is really why it's called Squarespace, is because it's all built around these little square blocks. And so you've got this little square block here. You can imagine there's another little square block there. You've got all these square blocks. You've got this square block. And then, so what's happening down here? Well, you have to imagine that there's a border. There's this invisible border coming down here and on this side as well. And so what we've just done is we've divided it into this one small column, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big columns, and then one small column again. And so, for example, look at how my little add more things work. So if I go under the image, it lets me put an image under that section, right? But if I come down a bit, it goes back to the full width of the slide. So I could then go put a button that is just centered across the whole thing, right? And so you can adjust the link of the button by clicking this little gear. You can have it go to a web address, open in a new tab. You could link it to a current page on your website. So this is really great. You don't have to type in the page on your website that's going. You just click on page and you just start searching for pages on your website. And so I can say like nature film, and like it's going to come up with all those search results. And whatever I click on, that becomes the link for this button. Here's where you set the text for what displays on the button, and when you're done with it, you adjust your size, whether it's small, medium, or large. You can have it aligned to the left, aligned to the right, or aligned to the center for the button. When you're done, you click apply, and very importantly, guys, if you don't come up here and click save, none of that work saves. So every so often, just go up to your edit bar and click on save. Okay? And let's go edit again. And I realize that this blue text looks terrible with this background. No problem. We're just going to switch on over to a white bold text or a dark minimal text. And maybe we'll adjust the background overlay color to make it pop out a bit more. We'll put it at 50%. Boom. That's easy. Super easy. So let's go down and let's see what else we can do. So here we've got 3 text boxes. As you can see, if we click into it, this is heading 3 and paragraph 2. If we want to change that, we just go paragraph 1 or paragraph 3. This is all set up in your design. If we want this to be heading 4, we can do that, or heading 2, we can do that. I've used some custom CSS to make sure that heading 2 is actually a different font. This is another one of the fonts we use, but we are not going to go through that in these videos. This is just the basic stuff. But yeah, so it is really just these easy blocks and super convenient to build. Going back to the pictures, here's a different style of picture. This is actually using like a poster style picture. So let's go to this image up here and see what we can do with it. Or you know what, we can add another picture over Dream It. So as you can see, there's two little things. Like this one is here going the full width, but this one knows, oh, just over Dream It. Okay, so I see what you want. You want a picture there. So I'm going to go ahead and put a picture there. And boy, I'm running out of pictures. We'll use this one. And so now let's go back over to design and see what we can really do with this, because there's so many options. So first of all, we went through the caption options already. So we have the different captions. Caption overlay on hover is going to do something like this. And caption overlay on hover is going to show that when people move their mouse over it, which means it's great for computers, but not so great for mobile. So just bear that in mind. I'm going to turn off the caption and look at some other options. Here's poster. So poster brings this text box up right in the middle of the thing. This is a poster. Now, I'm noticing something. I can't see this text. Oh boy, I can't write either. There we go. So this is a poster, and then we have a little bit of body paragraph there as well. So let's go ahead and set this to heading... No, that's too big. Let's do heading 2, heading 3 maybe. And so what I'm seeing is that I can't actually see that because of the color formatting for this section. It's not right. So before we fix that, let's just go through and look at some of these other options. So poster would allow you to put a poster text right in the middle of it, and you can turn this entire thing into a link. So if you want, you can have the whole image be a click-through link, which means you could have like a chapter heading here or a page menu here. And this is how we navigate around our website quite a lot. And again, it's that same thing. You can just paste the URL there, or you can open this gear icon and link to an existing page. You can have it send somebody an email, send somebody a phone call, download a PDF file that you've uploaded, or go to a page on your existing site. All right. The other thing is you can have it be a button. So you can have a little button that pops up down there, and then you can say the button text, contact us, right? Whatever. And then you can have that say link to an email, whatever, and then you can put the contact email in that you want it to link to. So that's poster. So let's look at card. So here's card. Basically, it puts everything to the right. So we're going to get rid of this button because it's obviously too small. Here's overlap. So you get this interesting effect where the text is kind of overlapping the image. Here's collage. And again, we've got a problem with our coloration there, right? Because this is obviously not showing our color. And stack is going to put this text below it with multiple headings and different subheadings and so on. So let's fix that color issue. So we're going to go to poster and click apply. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here to edit section and go to colors. And we're set to white minimal. And so this is where we have the problem, is with the white minimal theme. So I can click through some of these other themes and see what would happen. So as you can see, white bold just did that. Light minimal did this. And now we can actually see that text again. Light bold. Okay, we can check out the different colors. That's not bad. Dark minimal. And so the reason this is happening is because I don't really use white minimal and white bold, so I haven't really bothered to set them up properly. I tend to use dark minimal and dark bold more than anything else. And as you can see, these ones all work properly. But let's just go ahead and see what happens. How do we get white minimal to fix? So right over here, we've got white minimal selected as our theme for this section, and our text color is wrong. So easy. I just click on this edit thing. Well, we can save the changes. And what it's going to do is going to open the theme editor for white minimal. And I'm just going to go ahead and select on this, and immediately from all those available, from all these crazy hundreds of options, immediately what it does when I click here is it just brings me to image block poster. And here's where I control the settings for the image block poster. So done. That's it. So the title text needed to be set to a different color. So I just used my existing color palette. You can also customize these colors. You can even put in hex numbers here. You could just paste a hex number. That's fine. You can drag this thing around and pick something custom, or you can use your existing palette to just quickly find what you need. And so that's it. That's how simple it is to make a fix like that. And remember, that will apply to the entire site. So if you happen to be using the image block with a poster setting for the design, and you happen to have that not set up properly for the color, now it's fixed it for the entire site. So we're going to save that change, but I want to check something else because I think... So let's just go to image again, and let's change our design over to, what was it, collage? There we go. We still have another problem with the collage layout. So we're going to apply that, save that, and then we're going to go to, once again, I'm going to click on, where is it? Sorry, edit section, color, and edit white minimal. And I'm going to select this. And so now it's brought us to image block collage. And so we can now fix this as well. So again, we'll just make it white, and that should fix that. And that'll apply that to the whole site as well. So we can save that. And now minimal white with the different image blocks all kind of work. So no matter what image design I'm using now we're getting something that makes sense, right? Under any situation. It's all visible, it all works. And there you go. So that's how we make those changes to the various image positions. And so you can see here, this is actually a giant image block, and I believe this is set to card. So you have this text over here on the left side, and they've got a button set up. And again, to change the image content, you just delete it. Let's see what's down here is another card, and then we've got this wide kind of highlighting section, like breaking up the section. So how do we do that? So this is easy. You see each one of these little blue lines, that's showing you where your section dividers are. And so I can just click on this button here, and it's going to pop up that same thing. So it looks very similar to creating a new page, but now it's just going to give us all sorts of different options for a particular section. And so you can have it be a list section, you can have it be a gallery, an image. So let's do headlines, and let's just get a nice, big, bold, full, wide image that kind of takes the whole slide. So let's use that one. And we'll adjust the height to be medium, so it's not so huge. Let's put the focus of the background a bit more interesting. There we go. And so what we've just done is we've just added a brand new section in between these other two sections. And conveniently, we can move these up and down. So if I move this up and down, now it's between these two sections. If I move it down again, it's just moving around. Now it's at the bottom near this section. If I move it there, it's just flipping the section groups around. So I'm going to put it up here to break up these large white sections so that they're not all on top of each other. All right, so I'm going to put that one down there. Now let's say I really set something up nicely and I really like it and I get it just the way I want. You can duplicate sections. So this is basically creating a copy. Now, unfortunately, you can't copy individual blocks, and that's something that I was really frustrated with Squarespace. I wish, for example, that I could take this text block and duplicate it, and then I could use that to drag that text block somewhere else, the second one, and then change the text. You can't actually do that. You have to duplicate the entire section to kind of create a copy of everything that you've already done. So that's a little bit annoying. But if you do create a duplicate, it looks like this, and it just goes, yep, here's your second page. And then I could get in here, change this text, change this image to something else, right? No big deal. Doesn't take that long to do. It's just something to bear in mind and consider, right? So that's how duplicate works. And remember that you can also duplicate an entire page, right? Once we're working on the editing page, this is just dealing with duplicating individual sections, right? And here, let's set this color to a blue look, and we'll put our format background to a bit darker. There we go. Makes it easier to read the text. And let's send that one down a bit. Oh, wait, no, that one needs to go up. Up one more. There we go. And so now we've got like this nice, big, giant page header. We've got some images and text. We've got this divider. We've got this big image. We've got another divider, this big image, and a thing at the end. And so you could put like your newsletter sign up thing down here, all sorts of cool things. So hopefully you guys are a little bit more familiar with how to move this stuff around. And I just, to remind you, I don't think I showed you how to actually move stuff. You just look for this little hand symbol and you pick it up and you move it around. And you can move it from one section to the other. And look, if I put it here, it's going to be to the right of the button. If I put it here, it's going to be to the right of just, let me get it just right. Look at that black line. So right now it's going to be to the right of everything, all of this text and the button. But if I move my mouse just a little bit, now it's only going to be to the right of the text, and it'll be above the button, right? I can adjust the size of each of these text box sections like this. I can also I didn't show you that. Let me delete that thing. Using this section editor tool, I can also adjust the alignment of this section. So for example, I can have this whole section aligned to the top of the box, the middle of the box, or the bottom of the box. If the section is tall enough, and if the section is medium, if it's large, you can't make any further adjustments. But if it's medium, you have a few other options that come in. And so you'll notice right now that this text is, so the actual text is aligned to the left here, right? But let's just align it to the center so we understand what's happening. Let's take the button and align it to the center as well. So I'm going to align that button to the center. There we go. So this is aligned to the center, but it's like pushed into the left, right? And that's having to do with this over here. So you can align your content. You can push it to the left side of the screen, the right side of the screen, or the center of the screen. And if your content is set to small, and you can see there now we're limiting it to this size, now the effect is even more dramatic, right? And so what this enables you to do is kind of position your text box on your image where you want it to be and how you want it to be. So let's say if I wanted this all to be aligned to the left side, I would do something like this. And then I could decide, okay, well, does this make sense to be all the way over here? That might be a little bit odd, right? To have it aligned like that and have it be all the way over on the right. Well, maybe so, but maybe that's how I want it. It's totally up to you guys. I would align this to the left side if it's going to be like that. If it's going to be in the center, I would probably align this font to the center. If I'm going to do this, I also might align it to the middle of the screen instead of being at the top or the bottom, but that's just me. Totally up to you guys how you want to do this, right? And so that's kind of moving the available content of each section can be adjusted, right? So here's our height adjuster again for the content. For the width, we can go ahead and open that, and we're adjusting the width of the section that we can actually edit, so we can make it real tiny, right? And I've done this in some pages. I'll just show you our home page. Let me just go ahead and save this and go to our home page for a split second here. So right down here at the bottom of our home page, you can see that we've got this bottom section here for our newsletter sign up. And I've got this adorable chameleon image that's kind of like, ooh, checking you out. And so I really wanted this section to be constrained to the left side so that it didn't block this nice image, right? Looks like it's squished. Why does it look like it's squished? There we go. Much better. Now our chameleon looks good. And so what's happening over here is, oh, that's interesting, is I've got my content width set to be as small as I could make it, right? And so this way you see now the text is like stretching onto his picture. So I just push it all the way over so it's kind of all the way off on the side. This is your newsletter sign up block, which is, I mean, again, as I've showed you, there's tons of things that you can do by adding. All of these are blocks. So the basic ones are text blocks, image blocks, video blocks. You can also put an embed code. So if you do this, it's literally just going to allow you to paste your iframe. So we talked about iframes in previous videos. So you could paste an iframe right here, and it would just embed anything that can be iframed right into your website here. So super convenient, super easy. You can also do individual codes, so just directly embedding codes. Here you have your image layout, so you've got your poster, your card, your overlap, collage, and stack. And then you've got your summary page, which includes various options. And these things are interesting because what these allow you to do, for example, I'll show you carousel, is these allow you to pick various things on your website and feature them. And so, for example, it will allow you to do your events and your blog and your products. So if you have a gift shop, you can select gift shop and it'll display products in this kind of gallery. If you have a blog or news and updates, and you can have more than one blog on your website. If you have events, you can tag your events there, right? So whatever you click, it'll just automatically pull those information and display them there. And you can choose how it's going to display. Is it using the 4:3, the 3:4? Is it using the 16:9 aspect ratio? You can choose different layouts for how it shows. You can set the column width. You can do all sorts of things and have it look pretty nice. So I'm going to discard that because that's something that I don't want to add down there. What else can you add to the website? You can add Maps, Google Maps. You can add any of these integrations here. Here's your donation box if you want to make a donation portal, and you can set this all up right here with your amounts. You can set your label for it. You can set your automatic form fields, and all of this is fully automatic, right? It's built in, it's integrated. People can pay with PayPal, with Stripe, with a credit card. It's totally secure, and it's just, that's it. It's done. It's that easy. And it'll automatically collect their information that you need legally. It'll encrypt it so that you're not at any risk. And yeah, then you just apply, you save, and you're done. You're good to go. What else can you add that's useful in here that I do a lot? Oh, you can make custom charts. So if you want to have like an actual chart, it lets you put in actual axes. You can put the data in and set this to be whatever you want. Or you can even import and export it using a CSV file. Go ahead and remove that. So you've got your charts, and then you've got your social links. And so if you do that, it'll basically just make these little buttons, and you can see those at the top of my page here. Let's apply that and save, done. So yeah, you can see those little social links are being shown up here, and now they're also available at the bottom there. And those are already set up and linked to our social media pages in the settings menu for Squarespace. You don't have to do that over and over again every time. All right. And that is, oh yeah, so you've got, if you wanted to actually have a feed from the things, you could do that as well. You can set up an RSS feed. Tons and tons and tons of cool features. So, guys, that's going to wrap it up with our introduction to building a page with Squarespace. Obviously, we're not going to spend that much time going through this because this would be way too long to fit into a particular thing. But I do want you guys to get in there and start poking around with your 14-day free trial and just see how kind of user-friendly it is to use Squarespace and how much you can do with it. And hopefully you guys can use this to start building really nice looking sites for your different projects and for your different teams. And hopefully that will help you be better communicators, and you can kind of use this tool to, you know, promote your work to the world. And yeah, I wish you the best of luck in doing it. I think we're going to do one more video just kind of concluding everything we've learned about. And just remember, guys, that all of this stuff is going to be available here under the skills training video section on our website. And we'll have that all broken up by different categories and chapters with everything easy to find. All right. So that's going to wrap it up for me, guys. I hope you learned something from all of these videos. I really hope that you feel like, you know, that you've learned something practical that you can use in your day-to-day life, either as a team leader or as a communicator or as a teacher or even as a project manager. These skills really stretch the gamut in terms of what they can be applied to. So now it's up to you and your creativity to figure out how you can use this to do your job better and help spread, you know, a conservation message to more people in a more engaging and impactful way. So best of luck. Thanks for sticking with us for so long. You guys are amazing for completing such an incredible amount of work. And thanks once again to the U.S. Embassy for sponsoring all of these little short training videos, pro tips and tricks from Fauna in Focus. Thanks, guys, and best of luck with everything. Bye.